Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome a sports fan who's got no problems telling you about shit that pisses him off or the dumbass shit that he did. He's not going to waste a lot of your time. He's going to get in and get out. He'll hit it and quit it. Let's put your hands together several thousand times in a row. It's Chronicles of a Dumbass, the Sean Mackey Show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we're going to do today. Hey, it's another makings of Chronicles of a Dumbass, the Sean Mackey Show, or maybe it's an actual part of the next episode. We don't know. We're still playing. We're keeping you apprised of how everything pans out for this season. We had our episode upload earlier, episode 14, I believe it was, and we realized we got in some good Cubs and Bears news. We finished out the Jerry Maguire moment, my personal Jerry Maguire moment, but we didn't do any John Franklin. But here's the deal. With this episode, I'm once again going to ask you to provide some feedback. If you go to Apple or Spotify, I think there's a link you can click that will allow you to send us some fan mail. If you like the John Franklin, He Who Was Dead, I will continue to do it as I am continuing to write the story. This has kind of been a live process with you guys throughout. So hit us up on Facebook, Chronicles of a Dumbass, the Sean Mackey Show. You can get my personal account, Sean P. Mackey. It's all there. All right. One of the things we want to do with the podcast is we want to be able to upload transcripts to Buzzsprout, which is who hosts our podcasts. The problem is we always prepare for the show and we spend hours writing out like not a script, but our notes. You know, we put detailed notes together because we do 45 minutes. And I keep saying we, but again, this is like a family endeavor. You know, the wife and the kids support me with this. They're always kind of contributing ideas to the show. My youngest daughter had done the artwork for the show, which we're going to attempt to add to that as well. So I always say we. I should get in the habit of saying I, because it is really my show. But, you know, it is what it is. I got my ways. I'm set in my ways. So let me know if you like the John Franklin, He Who Was Dead story that I've been writing, and we'll continue to do that. But on this episode, I'm either going to do one of two things. I'm either going to record today and then combine it with some recordings later in the week and then put it all up as one episode, or I may just go ahead and upload this episode. But I really wanted to get into the Cubs Reds series that just happened, because I will tell you what, I was kind of nervous. You know, I talked a little bit on a prior podcast about losing 2 games to the Marlins, and you should have beaten them those 2 games. And, you know, it comes down to maybe at the end of the year, you win or lose the division by a couple of games. And I was really nervous during the Reds series because I'm pretty sure those Cubbies had 2 comeback victories during that series. So, yeah, game 1 against the Reds, the Cubs ended up with a 13-6 victory. But I remember making a comment to my wife, and I was like, this is crazy, because they were down. It was 3, 4, 5, 6. It was 6-2 in the 6th inning. And nothing transpired in the 6th inning. But then in the 7th inning, the Cubs come out and put up a 7 spot. Then or a 6 spot, they put up a 3 spot, and then a 2 spot. And they end up taking that game 13-6. You know, I'm like, what the hell is going on with this team? It's really starting to get me excited. They hit 4 home runs in that game. They ended up with 13 hits. Oh, you know, that was a good deal. I was like, okay, you take game 1. You come from behind. You take game 1. Perfect. We need to do that. The Reds, they're close in the division. They're just behind the St. Louis Cardinals, and you can't give ground to these guys because these are the games. You know, I talk about you need to win games you have to win. A lot of those times it comes against outside the division opponents. But when you're playing inside the division, yeah, you got to win those games. So game 1, 13-6 victory. Flexen gets the win. So Horner was 3 for 5, couple of doubles, 2 runs scored. Suzuki hit a home run. Pete Crow Armstrong. Oh my gosh. 2 home runs, 2 doubles, 6 RBIs. That's like his second 6 RBI game of the season. So where I was in the past, in the other podcasts, like I was really high on PCA in spring training. Then he came out and was like, this is just another, this is like last year redo, right? But that's why I'm a dumbass, because here he is. He makes an adjustment to his swing, and oh my gosh, this dude is like hitting for power. He's leading the Cubs, or one of the leaders in RBIs. I'm really digging what PCA is doing right now, and I'm starting to get excited. This is really odd for me. If you've been listening to the podcast, you know me personally, seen my posts on Facebook. Like, I'm all over the place with the Cubs, up and down. I'm like, if I'm silent on social media, the Cubs are probably doing well. If I'm vocal, it's because I'm pissed off because they're not doing well. Well, game 2 of that Reds series, the Cubs lose that game. And this game is where I was like starting to get a little bit nervous, They lose 6-4. Colin Ray ends up taking the loss. That's his first of the season. 3-1. That's okay. He's kind of filling in. He's been a starter before, but now with the Cubs, he's filling in this role after some injuries. So I'm kind of digging that. Let's see. Carson Kelly, 2 for 2 with a home run, an RBI, 2 runs scored. Matt Shaw finally hitting the ball, 3 for 4 on the day. The Cubs had 11 hits. I hit 2 home runs. They were losing early. I think it was 3-1 in the 5th inning, and then boom, 6-1, and then the Cubs come and score a run in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. So they were trying to come back again, which has been their kind of trademark this season. I think the Cubs have outscored their opponents 53-3 from the 6th inning on in the last 10 or 11 games. So that's pretty exciting. The Cubs do end up taking the loss in this game. So I was sitting on the fence. Here we are, team 2 games back. I'm thinking, oh crap, now you're going to give up ground. And especially, the third game again in the series on Sunday. Like, when I tuned into that game, I was like, oh, here we go. You're going to lose 2 or 3 to the Reds. You're going to give up ground to a division opponent, which you really can't afford to do. Nobody can. It doesn't matter if you're a Cubs fan, Dodgers fan, Oakland Athletics. Oh, are they the Vegas Athletics? Who knows what they are anymore. But if you're a fan of anybody and there's a division race, you don't want your team giving up runs and losing to teams in their division. So at this point on Sunday, when I tune into the game, the Cubs are down. It's like they took a 2-0 lead in the top of the first. And I was like, hey, okay, right. So boom, I tune in. I go do some things around the house. I tune in later, and I'm like, 2nd inning, and it's 4-2. And the Cubs are down. I'm like, what the hell? And so they go out and they score a run in the top of the 2nd, and it's 4-3. And I'm just like, oh, what the hell? We get to the 5th inning, and boom, it's 8-3. And I'm like, what? You can't. You're going to give up ground to the Reds. You can't beat these guys. This is where, I'm getting ready to go on Facebook, and I'm getting ready to make a post, and I'm just like, God damn. Cannot do this. And then in comeback fashion, as they've been doing all season long, they score 1 in the 6th, 3 in the 7th, 4 in the 8th. Boom, win that game 11-8. And that's where I think Sunday, I was like, okay, I'm kind of impressed right now. I'm starting to see the offense and the bullpen. And I've been on this bullpen all season long. And this bullpen is keeping them in these games so that the offense can come back and do what they need to do to secure a victory. And that's where I'm kind of getting impressed, because I'm looking at this and I'm like, this lineup, this is like, other than Kyle Tucker, you take out Cody Bellinger and you put in Kyle Tucker. Does he mean that much to this team? Because this team is virtually the same team from last year. I mean, you still got Ian Happ, Seiya Suzuki, Dansby Swanson, Nico Horner, Michael Busch, Miguel Amaya for the most part. You've been struggling with a third baseman. If Shaw comes out and he keeps hitting, what did he do? I want to see. They usually give the box score on this. Let me see if I can go back and find it. I wonder if Shaw was hitting or if he was in that game on Sunday. But then that's going to bring us into the Rockies series. But, I mean, this is virtually the same lineup recap. Well, let me see what the recap says. So, yes, I'm on the Cubs website. I do that. I've got a system set up. I've been taking notes. I put them together, but why not pull the screens up? Because I'm going to tell you what, again, Makings of Chronicles of a Dumbass, you can catch that on YouTube at Sean Mackey 90, my personal YouTube channel. But I give you the lowdown. I mean, you think the dudes in radio, you think the dudes on TV don't have people handing them notes all the time, or they got information pulled up on their computer screens? Most of the time you can't see it. If I put my videos on YouTube, you can see it, at least my part, like see me looking at the screens. But yeah, for those of you out there in audio land, I got notes, man. Got to do it. I'm not going to hide anything from you. So let's see. Oh, gosh dang it, America. Where is this information? Okay, got to click the button that says box score, dumbass. Again, Sean Mackey Show, Chronicles of a Dumbass, right? So let's see. Did Shaw play? Yes, he came to the plate 5 times. He had 1 hit. He's hitting .229 right now. Much better than earlier in the season. League averages are not that high. So if this dude continues to produce and hit, maybe we figured out the third base situation. But again, this is like the exact same lineup. Last year you had Crow Armstrong, Swanson, Tucker, Horner, Michael Bush, Reese McGuire. What is this guy doing? He gets signed to a minor league contract, gets called up the next day because of the Amaya injury, and goes out and hits 2 home runs. He was 2 for 5, hitting .400, and he hit 2 home runs on Sunday. So yeah, again, I'm getting impressed with this team. It's like, it's mind-boggling to me. So yesterday, the Rockies, it's one of those deals where here you come out, you're playing like a 9-25 team, and you go out, you pick up the win, but you only score 3 measly runs. So, that's one of the things that fascinates me about baseball or any sport really is like, you play the really good teams. People are like, oh, they're going to lose, they're going to suck. And you come out and you're winning down to the last second, the last inning, whatever it is, whatever sport you're playing, and you hold your own. And then you come out and you play teams that just absolutely suck. And based on what you've been doing all season, you should go out there and kick booty, But no, they go out and they win 3-0. They put together 4 hits, or 3-1, I'm sorry. And the Cubs put together 4 hits, and they scored 3 runs. They win. Jameson Taillon picks up the victory. He's 4-3 on the season. But it's like, how? You're playing the Rockies. Like, that doesn't even make any sense. So Happ was 1 for 3. Tucker 1 for 3. Suzuki 1 for 3. And Horner was 1 for 3. So there's your 4 hits. Everybody else put up an 0 for. Somehow the Cubs managed to score 3 runs, and they pick up that victory. So, again, we got the game tonight, which is Tuesday, May 27th, against the Rockies, game 2 of the series. So, we'll see how that goes. If you drop a game to the Rockies, boy, am I going to really be pissed. And if I add on to the show, you'll hear that later in the show. If I don't add on and I make it a part of, a different show, then, yeah. That's what's going to happen. So let's see. If you're going to the game tonight, it's Hefty's 60th birthday. And you get a bucket hat. And then that's nice. So those of you going to the game tonight, Tuesday, you get yourself one of them old Cubs bucket hats, right? So, yeah, I want to move into some Bears news, And, that's the thing about the podcast. We were talking a little bit earlier about you giving me some feedback if you want to hear the short stories that I'm writing. Part of it is that I think I'm going to the Sean Mackey Show, Chronicles of a Dumbass Sports Fan. I think I'm going to just lead this into sports. I want to add more sports. I'm very comfortable with the NFL and Major League Baseball right now. Baseball and football were always my sports. You know that if you've listened to other podcasts or other episodes. So, I want to dive into the sports theme or the sports niche a little bit more. And let's face it. What do you got? If you didn't play a professional sport, and you went into broadcasting, you're like a play-by-play guy, and you're just a big old sports fan. If you went into a radio show and you have a talk radio show, you're just a big old sports fan. That's what I am, right? I didn't play professionally. I feel like I could do color commentary. I did play semi-professional football for a long time. I know the games, but I also feel like I could do play-by-play. During the Bears season, that's what you might hear on some of these podcasts. I might include, and I might just sit behind the microphone when the games are on while I'm watching and just do my own play-by-play, just get it out there and throw it out there. So we'll see where it goes. So I want to move into some Bears news. We talked a little bit on the last podcast that I feel, and I don't know if I made this clear, but I feel like Caleb Williams made the right decision. The Bears, Ryan Poles said, we're going to draft you no matter what. He saw that his rights could be tied up for a while and he couldn't go into any other leagues. He couldn't get in the NFL and, through the back door, so to speak. So he sucked it up. He did what he had to do. He put together a season last year that was not too bad for a rookie, number one draft pick, couple of decisions by the coaching staff here and there, whether it be actual coaching, or in-game management, and the Cubs may have a better record. He took a big-ass beating, but now we've got, and we hear that Ben Johnson have a couple of expectations for Caleb Williams, and to this kid's credit, he is taking everything in and saying, like, this is the deal. I want to know what's going on. He was pissed last year when Eberflus and Shane Waldron, they kind of just left him alone in the quarterback room or in the film room, and he didn't know what he should be doing or what was expected of him. And it goes back to what I said last week on the podcast. How does this guy go all season with having, in my opinion, the wrong foot forward in the shotgun snap? And I haven't gotten any feedback on that, but I'm just going to tell you, for the little bit of times I played quarterback, doing anything athletically, that power foot is the one you want to have forward because that's your first reaction and your first instinct. So this guy didn't get coached up one bit last year, so he was kind of pissed. So one of the things Ben Johnson's looking at is they're like, hey, we want you to carry yourself a little bit better as a quarterback. Right? There was some instances last season where he'd pick up a sack or fail a busted play and you'd see him on the bench like pouting and crying, goes back to USC, jumping in the stands, crying to his moms, emotional. That's fine. I get it. But they're like, bro, you're a quarterback in the NFL now. You got to carry yourself with a little bit more decorum. So he's getting coached up and tutored by Case Keenum, who the Bears signed this offseason. So we'll see what that holds for Bagent in the future. Keenum might be your backup. Maybe Bagent sticks around, hits the practice squad. But let the kid go, man. I think he's got something. He could probably go out there and do really well for an organization as a backup. Or I think the kid's got some intangibles, Bagent that is, that he could be a starter. But then they also wanted to... so that was his body language, right? And then the coaches also wanted to pre-snap procedure, which I think that goes to the whole foot thing, right? So the things he needs to do, he's got to make sure he's looking in the right spots and identifying the defense and seeing what's out there, and then knowing what they're running and what they're playing, set up correctly before you start calling the cadence and you're ready for that snap. So he's welcome to the changes. I really like that. He thought motion, it's like, I guess during one game last season, he was turning to his left thinking the motion was coming and it was coming from the other way. So that goes back to like knowing what the hell's going on. That's one of those things. But again, if he's not getting coached up in the quarterback room, what's the kid to do? As smart as you are, you can't make assumptions or guesstimate what should be happening or what you should be seeing. I would imagine no matter what stage of the game you're in, the film room is always going to be a place to learn, and there's going to be different schemes and things of that nature, and a good quarterback's going to say, hey, what am I supposed to look for here? And the coaches are going to say, look for this, look for that, look for this. We'll watch this as many times as we need to until you can identify that and see that, and then as you move forward, that's what you need to be looking for and identifying. And again, you're working in the film room, so that would mean rewind, fast forward as many times, taking notes until you can get it cemented into your brain. So he's welcome to those ideas, so that's good. Like I said last week, I didn't really want the Bears to draft him, but I'm kind of glad they did now because I think there's some good things that are going to come out of Caleb Williams during this next season, especially under Ben Johnson. So, like I said, I'm trying some things this week. I wanted to get in my Cubs and Bears news. I also had my phone set up recording. Like I mentioned, the transcript would be a good blog post if you might want to read instead of listen. So I'm trying to, get things out there for my listeners, possibly my readers. So I got that recording as I'm speaking. into my Docs app, and then I'll go in and edit that. And like I said, if I upload this episode as a standalone episode, great. I'm going to focus on the sports. If I don't get any feedback from anybody about John Franklin and He Who Was Dead, I'm going to continue to write the story, but I'm going to not share it on the podcast. Again, I want to do good things for my listeners. I want you to continue to listen. So I need some feedback. Hit me up on Facebook. Go to the YouTube channel. Check out any of the shorts or the videos I posted, the makings of Chronicles of a Dumbass, the Sean Mackey Show. Or click the link on each episode on Spotify. I know it's there for sure. Have not checked into Apple yet. There's a lot of things I got to do, and I'm just so dang busy all the time. So I'm trying to prioritize and get things set up for everybody so we all can enjoy the Sean Mackey Show, Chronicles of a Dumbass. Well, that's all the time we have for this episode of Chronicles of a Dumbass. I hope you enjoyed what you heard today. Maybe it brought a smile to your face, made you laugh. Maybe it even made you think. If you liked what you heard, tell all your friends. If you didn't, just keep your mouth shut.